God's children get together. What a time, what a time, what a time when all God's children get together. What a time, 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 what a time when all God's children get together. What a time, what a time, what a time when all God's children get together. What a time, 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 what a time when God's children get together. What a time, what a time, what a time. We'll be rejoicing forevermore. What a time, 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 what a time when all God's children get together. What a time, what a time, what a time when all God's children get together. What a time, 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 what a time when God's children get together. Oh, what a time, what a time. We'll be rejoicing forevermore. What a time, 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 what a time when all, sing with me, God's children get together. What a time, what a time, what a time when all God's children get together. What a time, 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 what a time. What a time, 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 what a time. What a time, 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 what a time. We'll be rejoicing forevermore. What a time, 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 what a time when all God's children get together. What a time, what a time, what a time. We will all be rejoicing and singing forevermore. What a time, time, time. What a time, time, time. What a time, time, time. What a time. Speak to my heart, Holy Spirit, give me the words that will bring new life. Words on the wings of the morning. Dark night will fade away if you speak to my heart. Speak to my heart. Speak to my heart. Speak to my heart. Whoa. Speak to my heart. Speak to my heart. Holy Spirit, a message of love to encourage me, lifting my heart from despair. How you love me and cared for me. Speak to my heart. 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 Speak to my heart.
Speak to my heart. You are speaking to my heart. Welcome to Unity of Wichita. Oh, we are so blessed to be here. I am Patty Yoon. I will be your platform leader today. With us, we have Huron Bro on music. Thank you. We have Joaquin back on sound. We have Jessica on video. We have Eleanor Ferris, who is joining us after a 5K run. Woo! What a girl, what a woman, what a power. Amazing. For our meditations and our affirmations. And Art Handy will be sharing our co-spiritual leader for our message today. Let's give them all a hand. Woo! Wow. What a morning already. Our greatest desire is that you're inspired by the music, the message, the meditation. You are an inspiration to us. Every month, we celebrate one of the 12 spiritual powers that our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, identified and discerned to be within each one of us. The month of March, the power is strength. The color is green. And the power of strength is the power to endure, to stay the course, to last, to be persistent, to persevere, and to be stable. So with that power of strength, let's say our mission statement together. Inspiring spiritual transformation as a vibrant, diverse, and inclusive community. And with that same power of strength, let's say our statement of being together. There is only one presence and one power in my life and in the universe. God the good, omnipotent. Once again, we want to welcome everyone who is connected here today. We especially want to welcome those of you who are here for the very first time. We are honored that you have joined us. We hope that you are inspired by today's service. And if you're at home on Facebook or YouTube, we hope that we get to meet you in person soon. Unity is a worldwide ministry dedicated to the ongoing awareness of the Spirit within all. We invite you to consider our teachings wherever you may be on your spiritual journey. If they fit into your life, keep what works for you and gently release the rest. We will now bless everyone who is watching. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the Christ as you, just as you are. Amen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to those of you here, those of you who are watching on the wonderful stream. We're going to go into a brief time of prayer this morning. I would just ask that we continue to hold our beloved Carol Ratcliffe and her family in prayers for the recent passing of her mom. So in this moment, we allow ourselves to feel grace. We allow our hearts and our minds to become attuned to the divine presence. That presence is here, now, whole, complete, perfect. This presence is the foundation of reality. And in this divine realm, all is interconnected. In this divine realm, we experience oneness with God and each other. And so in this moment, we allow ourselves to feel our oneness with God and know it to be our true nature. We allow ourselves to feel our interconnection with all of life and feel our interconnection with all human beings and all other beings. We allow ourselves to be filled with this knowing, this awareness, and we allow it to bring a sense of peace to us, a sense of comfort. And in this field of oneness, this reality of oneness, we allow it to infuse our thoughts. We allow it to flow forth in the words that we speak. And we allow it to flow forth in our actions, that which we do, and how we interrelate with other people. Oneness is the reality. And we bask in it. We celebrate it. And we live it. And in the name and nature of the Christ power that we are grateful. And together we say, and so it is. Amen.
You are my strength, strength like no other, strength like no other, reaches to me. You are my strength. Strength like no other, strength like no other, reaches to me. In the fullness of your grace, in the power of your love, you lift me up. You lift me up. In the fullness of your grace, in the power of your name, you lift me up. You lift me up. You are my strength, strength like no other, strength like no other, flowing through me. You are my strength, strength like no other, strength strength like no other, flowing as me. Flowing as me.
Good morning, friends. A strength like no other as you, this perfect, unrepeatable expression of the divine. You are indeed a strength like no other. This morning we'll read our affirmations together as they're on the screen for you. Strength flows through me from the faith within my faith. Since consciousness is not the whole of my being, my wholeness exists as an expression of a perfect idea of divine mind. A strength like no other. I never would have thought I'd have the strength to participate in a 5K. Thank you. That wasn't the point. But what is my point is my unshakable attachment to oneness, that as I had the strength to run the 5K, and I know the strength of the faith within my faith, right now there is a testing of strength among thousands of refugees. Strength I don't want to imagine. May we hold the truth and potential of this power of strength. Strength of the faith within our faith. Our faith can be shaken in unsettling times. I'm speaking of the truth of the strength of the faith in your faith. Strength flows through you like the breath of the divine. Do you allow it? Strength wants to expand from your heart into your influence and within your physical body, so as to express as this perfect idea. Take a moment and move into a place of communion with the divine. Communion consisting of you allowing being vulnerable. Let it flow. Smile, allow it. Strength is what inspires, not just protects. Move into a place of asking if you wish. Set intentions. Intentions to strengthen your insides and to strengthen your outsides. For while our outsides are our sense, consciousness, this body experience, shell, it will influence and pass. The truth of your strength has inspired too many to disappear. So take time to strengthen your insides through meditation and communion. Take time to share your strengths with others. And please choose to allow yourself to be strengthened. So in the name and the nature of the Christ within, we say together, and so it is. Amen.
You know, many of the images coming from Ukraine is pretty horrible. People traumatized and terrorized, and people migrating to places of safety. It's terrible. We continue to hold the people in Ukraine in our prayers, as well as the people in Russia, as well as the leaders. It's a rough situation, and that is just one conflict out of many conflicts that are going on in the world. Israel, Palestine, Yemen, Syria. The list just goes on. And when we think about these things, it can be really hard to really accept that these things are happening in the world. And if you're a person that is spiritually inclined, or you're actively on the spiritual journey, when we hear about things associated with that spiritual journey, when we hear about ideas like oneness and spirit and infinite presence, and those things don't square with a lot of the images that we see. And for some of us spiritual-minded folks, we might have a tendency to ignore those things that are happening and focus our attention elsewhere. Now, I certainly don't recommend that we obsess or over-consume these images, because it's just not healthy. However, neither do I advocate pretending that they're not there. If spiritual principle has any value at all, it should help to navigate these things that are hard for us to look at, and navigate these things where it can shake our faith. It can test our commitment to spirit. And if it can't do that, then what good is it? So today, the invitation here is to consider spiritual perception, and how spiritual perception, in addition to fortifying our own lives and allowing us to experience a greater experience of life, they can help us rightly see the world and rightly see life, so that even though we can acknowledge some of these horrific things that are happening, we can stay grounded in principle. We can stay grounded in our spiritual walk. So that way, number one, we can keep our sanity. Number two, we can have some perception as to what's happening in the world. And number three, if we really first two ideas, we can actually become a healing influence. We can actually become a channel through which the kind of world that we want to see can express in us and through us. One of the things that I marvel about, and even in having a sense of awe to it, is that throughout time, you know, there have been mystics of many spiritual traditions, many religious traditions, your Lao-Tzus, your Rumis. This? You can hear me good? Okay. The Lao-Tzus, the Rumis, all these different mystics, Jesus of Nazareth, coming from various faith traditions, religious traditions, it always gives me a sense of awe how they came to similar understandings. And one of the understandings that, you know, because a mystic is very contemplative, a mystic is one who really relies on the spiritual realm to be their basis and their springboard for life. One of the things that the mystics came to is this understanding of the interconnectedness of all life. because at the level of spirit, there is no separation. At the level of spirit, there is no here or there. There is no this or there is no past or future. At the level of spirit, there's a oneness with everything. There's an interconnection with everything. And many of these mystics really felt a genuine connection with spirit, or a genuine connection with what we call God. And that sense, that awareness informed how they saw life, and it informed how they related to other people. Even this thing that we call air. You know, there's a Patty's over there, and I'm right here. And so you would think that the space in between us is empty, but really, the space in between us is energy. There's energy all in the atmosphere. So in the sense where we think of ourselves as being separate, the energy that's between Patty and I, the space there, that doesn't, in reality, it doesn't separate us, it connects us. That energy connects us. That energy connects us. And in that level of understanding and awareness, there is no separation. However, as human beings, we can incorporate an experience of separation when we believe ourselves to be separate. I'm me, you're you, I'm here, you're over there. What's going on over there is your business. What's going over here is my business. And if you roll your eyes at me, I consider you an enemy, and all of a sudden I'm doing horrible things to you. That's what separation consciousness causes. That's what separation thinking causes. And it amazes me that all these mystics and all these various traditions came to this similar understanding, including a couple of mystics, a husband and wife couple, that kind of made hay in the Kansas City area. I'm speaking of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore. They also came to this similar understanding of we are never separate from God, and there's nothing we can ever do to be separate. So the experience of God is not the experience of calling God from up there to look down on us down here. God is present right where we are. So there's an invitation to get that awareness of that and feel into that and allow that knowing and that understanding to go from something I'm reading in a book or something that I heard the minister say at the Unity Church to being a very inner experience that I'm feeling and that I'm knowing from my contemplative prayer and meditation life. And as I get that understanding of this oneness that I have with God and this fact that I'm never separate from God, and I allow my entire life to be informed by that awareness, then it changes my overall experience in the things that I do, the things that I experience. Similar understanding. Now, when these things happen, such as war and crime and all the horrific things that we sometimes see in human experience, we might be tempted to ask ourselves, where is God in all this? Or the very often asked question, why does God allow these things to happen? Well, to be honest with you, God doesn't allow these things to happen. Let me give you an example of what it is that I mean. There is a principle of mathematics. There is the theory of mathematics that describes the operation of mathematical function. In that principle of mathematics, that principle is whole and complete, and in the principle of it, there is no error. However, when I go to balance my checkbook, I can make an error in the computations. I could fat finger a number on the calculator, or I could miscalculate something and come to an incorrect balance in my checking account. Or I could do some other calculation where I can come up with a wrong answer. It's not the principle of mathematics that was in error. I incorporated an error in the way that I calculated and came up with the wrong answer. Same thing with the principle of music. In the principle of music, that principle is whole and complete and perfect. But if I'm playing music, I can sometimes play a wrong note. I can sometimes sing off key. That's not a problem with the principle of music. It was just in that moment I sung off key. And trust me, if you have me sing like this guy tries to sometimes, every note that comes out of my mouth will be off key. I'm just kidding. But I hope the point is clear. Do you guys see the point? Those of you who are watching online, if you see the point, say yes in the comments. It's the same thing when it comes to the divine. God as principle is whole, perfect, and complete. However, we can sometimes misperceive. We can sometimes be of a mindset and of a consciousness that is not on the wavelength of God as love, God as life, God as beauty, God as wisdom and understanding. So I can incorporate a sense of love, life, beauty, wisdom, and understanding that is less than or not up to the level of the pure realm of spirit. And when I do that, I can do something in error. I can do something that's wrong. I can misperceive. And when I'm really out of whack, and when I'm really out of balance, I could do something that I perceive as evil. Or I could do something that's hurtful or harmful. In this quotation from Charles Fillmore in The Revealing Word, I think it really tells the tale here. Charles says, "There is but one presence and one power, God omnipotent. But man has the privilege and freedom of using this power as he wills. When he misuses it, he brings about inharmonious conditions. These are called evil. Evil appears in the world because man is not in spiritual understanding." Evil appears in the world because man is not in spiritual understanding. So let's take that to its logical foundation. We often in human understanding, we contrast a lot of ideas, but really in divine understanding, there is no opposite to things. In divine understanding, there is love. No hate or fear in divine understanding. In divine understanding, there is life. There is no such thing as death in divine understanding. Fear and hate and death and hurt and harm and violence, those things are in human experience, and they come about in human experience when human beings adopt a way of seeing and a way of being that is less than the realm of spirit. Does that make sense to everybody? So, this is what's happening. Excuse me. This is what is happening. If the divine knew wrong answers, if the divine knew violence and war, things would be crazy. The planets, rather than being in a tight orbit, they would fly off because there would be no order. Water would run uphill, and all kind of crazy things would happen because in order for these things to be in the order that they have, there has to be a whole principle, a perfect principle that backs them. So, saying all that, because war and crime and horrific things can sometimes happen, God is still present, always present. God is on both sides of battle lines. God is on both sides of bargaining tables. God is here as well as there. It is the opportunity and the privilege for human beings to perceive this level of understanding so that it changes us from the inside, and we carry that changed awareness on the inside into everything that we do. So in short, God doesn't do war, people do. But you might still ask, where is God and where is God in all this? Especially when you consider the words of Jesus when the gentleman came to Jesus begging to him on hands and knees, saying, "Good teacher, save me." And Jesus is like, "Why do you call me good teacher? None is good except for God." And here in Unity, we say the phrase, "God the good." Well, God is the essence and the expression of God is the essence and the energy of good that is ever present. We as human beings have the opportunity to tap into that good and create goodness. God is love. We as human beings have the opportunity to tap into that love so that we can have loving experiences. God is the principle of life. We as human beings take that life and we live from God's life. We can do it at a high level of understanding, as Charles Fillmore suggested, or we can do it from a lower level of understanding. The higher, truer level produces harmony, produces connection, produces peace. The inharmonious level produces chaos and violence. And any time you see something of that nature, it is always separation thinking that is at play. But even though horrific things sometimes happens, the divine presence is always there. So that means that there is a solution to every problem. There is a resolve to every conflict. There is a resolution to every seeming thing that happens if enough critical mass of folks just can perceive into that presence and allow that presence to infuse and inform our minds and hearts so that we can take a different understanding about life and a different understanding about each other and carry that into the interaction and carry that into the exchange and carry that into the working out of things. Because when we do that, we open ourselves up to that perfect infinite pattern that Eleanor was talking about so beautifully in her meditation. And in order to know that there's a solution to the problem, in order to know that the divine is always present, even when the available evidence looks to the contrary, that's where we incorporate that divine power of strength to persevere, to endure, to stay the course. I'm going to know that love is present even when any and all expressions of hate abound. I'm going to know life is present even though expressions of death abound in people's behaviors. I'm going to hold on to that and I'm going to know it. And not only am I going to hold on to it, and not only am I going to know it, I'm going to cultivate a world that I want to see in me. Let in me be the presence of love. Let in me be the presence of peace. Let in me be the spirit of mutual helpfulness. I'm going to cultivate it in me. I'm going to be the world that I want to see in the world, carry that awareness and carry that consciousness into the world. So I may not be in the Ukraine where I can affect things necessarily, but I can be a healing influence in the world by adopting a level of thought and a level of heart resonance that allows me to be a radiating center of what it is that I want to experience in the world. Martin Luther King was once asked the question, if you knew that the world was going to end tomorrow, what would you do? And his answer was, I would plant a tree. Still affirming life in the midst of something that is going to be seemingly horrible. And again, when we see these images, when we feel the things that we feel, whether it's anger, whether it's sadness, whether it's discord, it's okay to allow ourselves to feel these things and to experience these feelings, these complex feelings, because that's just a part of being human. We'll go into that more in the Sacred Human book study. But we can, at the same time, know that there is an infinite presence that we can feel into, we can open ourselves to, and we can know a centering and a strength and a guidance as we navigate through what it is that we see. And speaking of Martin Luther King, if you're connected to me on my Facebook page, you'll know that I share this quote very often. It's words from Martin Luther King that he shared in his Nobel Prize-winning acceptance speech. Oops. There it is. I meditate on these words very often whenever my heart and my spirit gets heavy. because I see things in the world that I'm really passionate about, and they really weigh on me. So during those moments, in feeling and experiencing those feelings, I will sometimes meditate on these words from Dr. King. When our days become dreary with low hovering clouds, and our nights become darker than 1,000 midnights, we will know that we are living in the creative turmoil of a genuine civilization struggling to be born. Those words give me a lot of hope, and I'm sharing those with you. Hopefully they give you hope as well. We are that infinite presence. We are born to give expression to that infinite presence, and that is true in times of discord as well as times of joy. That's the invitation today. As always, I hold you all in very sacred space, and into that space I speak a simple word of prayer: life, light, and love to you all. God bless you.
Oh, we are certainly blessed here at Unity of Wichita by the music, the message, the meditation, and by love. Please consider giving a tithe or an offering this morning. If you're in the sanctuary, you can leave it in the front or rear offering plates as you leave the sanctuary. If you're at home on Facebook or YouTube, go now to the chat box. There's a link that takes you to the donations page, our PayPal account, our physical address, or you can bring it directly to the church, regular business hours, Monday through Thursday, 9:30 a.m. through 3:30 p.m. Whatever amount you are guided to give, just hold it over your heart. Bless it with your love. Visualize your electronic tithe, and let's say our offering blessing together. Divine love flowing from me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, all that I receive, and I am grateful. Amen.
Eyes of my heart, I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. To see you now and in this world, shining in the light and glory. Pour out your power and love as we live holy, holy, holy. To see you now and in this world, shining forth in goodness and glory. Pour out the power and love as we live holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, living holy. I want to see you. I want to see you. I'm determined to see you. I am being you.
Everywhere we look, we can see. We can see God. So this morning, I want to remind you all, Art talked about it for about a quarter of a second. So I want to be sure you all know that the Sacred Human Book Study is starting this Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. on Zoom. 7. Thank you for that correction. Sorry about that. We usually start at 6:30. It's in my brain. Sorry, guys. So 7 p.m., be sure and check your e-blast. And if you don't get an e-blast, if you're online, you can certainly check the Facebook page or the calendar on the website for the links to that Zoom call. I'm pretty excited. I think it'll be really great. So you guys check it out. Eleanor Ferris is our spirit groups lead, and she's going to talk about our spirit groups that are available right now. Thank you. Right over here, please.
Yes, spirit groups. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have an opportunity to strengthen yourself from the inside and out. A program we call Body by God, and it is hybrid. You can come meet here at 2 o'clock, Tuesdays and Thursdays, or Zoom in with us. There's a couple of you that have Zoomed in before, and we have a good smiling time. Now, on Wednesday, we have this spirit group, Divine Audacity, with Reverend Linda Martello-Wetzel, and it is a book study. And it's 8 weeks, and even though we've started the first one, we covered the powers of faith and understanding, it's always layered. So please come anytime you can, or Zoom in. Check the calendar for the link. Thursdays is Creation Station, which just about everybody in Wichita knows about now because the news came. And so you should come too and enjoy our creativity and generosity from our heart, okay? And then it's from 11 to 2:30. But at 2 o'clock, I'm going to snag a bunch of you for another Body by God. All right? Okay. Here you go.
Thank you. And you can see Eleanor featured on the news on March 23rd. That is when the spot about Creation Station will be aired on Good Day, Kansas, which is very exciting. It was a fun day. So finally, on Sunday, March 27th, we will be holding the annual meeting. So those of you who got your e-blast yesterday morning saw that the candidates, the nominees for the open board positions were listed, and those are Steve Carter, Jeff Dunnigan, and Jeannie Shove. And so be sure and check those out if you're a member of the church so that you can review their bios and check in with me if you have any questions. And with that, I'll pass it back over to Art. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. And one last note on the book study for the Sacred Human. If you don't have the book, or if you're not able to get the book for whatever reason, and you're still interested, you can still come. I always do these book studies in such a way to where if you don't have the book to read along, you can still follow along and get something wonderful out of the experience. So don't let that stop you if you don't have the book. With that, we are going to go ahead and begin to bring our Sunday experience to a close. I'd like to thank all of you who are here in person. I'd like to thank all of you who are streaming at home. Each and every one of you inspire us each and every day. And with that, we're going to move into our prayer protection, and we're going to then sing the peace song. So those of you who are here in person, if you are willing, you can stand. If not, you can sit. That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. Those of you who are at home, we also invite you to get into the experience, into the vibration of, we'll all see it on our monitors. And if you want, this is what I'll do. I'm going to take both of my hands, and I'm going to place it over my heart. Really get that energy going there. And let us affirm our prayer protection together. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.